Hello and welcome everyone to the Balthazar NFT gaming channel, and if you are a fan of MMOs and ARPGs, then today's video is going to be hyped for you because our alpha team just put out a massive research report on the game Big Time. We're going to go over it, see how it scored in the review. So let's just jump straight into it and find out more about Big Time. Set in the far future at the end of time, this story is about how all the stars in the universe are slowly being eaten by huge black holes. The company that owns time is called Paradox Corporate, or Big Time on the street. Time collisions, which Paradox sells, are like lifeboats for people who are stuck at the end of the universe and want to leave. Time collisions let survivors live in the past where they can come and go easily as walking through a doorway. The alien technology that runs the time collisions has gone very wrong. All of the time collisions have started to crash into each other, speeding up the end of the universe as the walls of time and space fall down. The best minds in history have been called to Evermore Academy at time's end to teach a new generation of heroes how to solve the crisis. Help save the universe by learning from teachers like Albert Einstein and Merlin how to fight against Paradox Corporate. However, the paradox is that doing so could undo the making of time's end. I like the mysterious setup of the game, and while there's nothing really unique about us fighting against a big corrupt corporation, there's plenty of story like that. I like how they are mixing it up with different pieces of time and the universe collapsing and also time travel. I feel like with this setup, there are plenty of different potential setups that they could do within the story and the way that they could lead this. So hopefully they can keep the exciting mystery going while they give us more information through playing the game. The first thing you'll do in Big Time is to pick a starting class. Like most action role-playing games, Big Time classes are standard, focusing on the Barbarian, Mage, Healer Support, and the Ninja Trapper playstyle. In Big Time specifically, those are the Time Warriors, the Chronomancer, the Quantum Fixer, and the Shadow Blade. The classes in Big Time are pretty basic in and of themselves, but there are some skill trees within each one to explore different routes, and as you pick up more rare pocket watches, that can also unlock different spells and abilities. My hope is that they are starting with 4 classes just for the sake of simplicity, and I could definitely see them adding 1, 2, or 3 classes down the road as well. Following the release of Big Time, additional time collisions will be available to explore new planets and timelines. In Big Time, a lot of the gameplay focus is on dungeon crawling and stumbling across lots of loot to upgrade your character. Like most games, there is rarity to these items, anything from junk to unique. However, a unique thing in Big Time is the pocket watches, which are self-contained characters and inventory. These items contain all the levels and progression of your character neatly in one item. Progression and classes is not shared between each other, but instead held in the pocket watch item, meaning that you can have 2 pocket watches with the same class, each with different builds and specs readily available for the right situation. These items can be acquired in-game from class trainers or from drops in the world. There are also gears, which are add-ons to your pocket watches. These enhance your pocket watch with additional stats and abilities. These can be acquired in portals or purchased from in-game vendors. So if you haven't explored Big Time yet and that was a little bit over your head, essentially, let me just give you an example. I was playing in the Chronomancer, the more wizard or mage style class. I leveled up to 10, but I only had the starter common pocket watch. Then someone dropped me a Chronomancer epic one, so I had better stats, but because it was a different stopwatch or pocket watch, I was back at level 1. So I had to start back from level 1 with higher stats and new abilities unlocked. Now your inventory is shared, so you can pass things from, let's say, my Chronomancer that was at level 10, I can give those items to my now level 1 Chronomancer with the upgraded Epic Pocket Watch, and your passive abilities are also shared on between all of your pocket watches that are tied to one account. To me, the pocket watch idea is a fairly unique idea. Maybe there's other games out there that are doing something similar, but I haven't seen them necessarily myself, and I kind of love it. I think it adds some replayability to the game, and even though for some players it might feel a little bit frustrating having to jump down, let's say, as I said, from level 10 back to level 1, what I found in my experience is that I get better stats, I get some of those new spells, so even though I leveled down, I still feel like I'm getting more powerful, so it wasn't too much of a frustration to me. Maybe it will be to some people, but I think for a lot of people, it's going to add a lot of replayability, because think about most MMOs, you get to a super high level, level 60, level 100, and it's such a grind to move up to the next level. This is a nice way to reset some progression while giving you a chance to get stronger and stronger. It also means within a dungeon, if you feel like your party is struggling because you don't have a tank, you can go from a mage to a tank or a tank to a support and keep trading throughout the dungeon in certain areas. Big Time offers several different weapon types with their own unique combo system, and that'll be more or less effective against the various kinds of in-game defensives. Also, as you adventure in Big Time, you'll find that you need more inventory space, which can be upgraded over time with bags. Our alpha team here at Balthazar did get to play test Big Time, which you'll get to see here in a video in just a couple days from now, but overall we really did enjoy the game. There's maybe a few things that could be polished, like certain combos felt a little bit sluggish and slow, but overall our experience of movement, the graphics of the game were pretty great, especially for a Web3 game. The combat felt really fun. Syncing up with a team of 5 of us was incredible fun and something that we haven't really gotten to experience in many other Web3 games because a lot of them don't have multiplayer that's easy to sync up with yet. Now, there are more things we'd like to see from Big Time moving forward, such as characters and lore and more of an expansive world. Right now, it's mostly just focused on fighting, leveling up, and dungeon crawling. But over time, of course, they can add these things. And hopefully also as well, we are hoping for more variety within the dungeons themselves. The total background score for Big Time was an 8.5 out of 10. Now let's check out Big Time's NFT gaming assets. Big Time features a cosmetic-based economy. Players are empowered with crafting, allowing them to control, create, and sell cosmetics in Big Time. The developers make the 3D models and list the recipe to craft it, then it's up to the community to make the items. Owning cosmetic NFTs will grant the owner access to exclusive areas in the game, for example, lounges or portals granting access to different non-power loot tables. For a player to craft a cosmetic NFT, they would need some space and a utility NFT such as the Armory, Forge, or Time Warden. Time tokens would also be required as fuel for the crafting. So let's jump into each of those NFTs. The space NFT that we mentioned are used to upgrade and expand your time machine. Similar to other games that allow players to have player-owned houses or own their personal areas where they can micromanage several aspects of the game. Space is not required to play Big Time, however, it is required to produce in-game NFTs. The Time Wardens are utility NFTs used to create or fill up Hourglass NFTs. Hourglasses are NFTs with the purpose of collecting Big Time tokens as loot drops as you play the game. Lastly, the Forges and Armories are utility NFTs that allow the players to upgrade their NFTs to increase their rarity. They will also have seasons of NFTs that the community will have to work together to combine lower rarity NFTs into eventually one rarity of a unique NFT. There will be NFTs to change the appearance of your weapons, armor, and even flares such as a particle effect or sound. So as you can see, going through their NFTs, Big Time is really trying to avoid what a lot of other Web3 games have done, which is essentially make their NFTs make you more powerful, which can very much quickly turn into pay to win. Well, obviously a lot of gamers don't like pay to win, so Big Time is going a different route, which is mostly making their NFTs and craftables all about cosmetics. Now, depending on what kind of Web3 gamer you are, you may love or hate that fact. Personally, as a competitive player, I like it when we have an even playing field and everyone can grab the same items and it's not a pay-to-win situation. So personally, I think their NFT gaming assets are a thumbs up for me. Now, hopefully they can make the skins and cosmetics of these NFTs really, really appealing. That's going to get more people crafting NFTs and wanting to buy them. For these reasons, the NFT gaming assets scored an 8.5 out of 10 and the artwork an 8 out of 10. Now let's look at Big Time's white paper, including things like the tokenomics, roadmap, blockchain, and more. The Time token is one of the game's 3 currencies, but the only one that is a cryptocurrency. Time is generated from an Hourglass NFT, which are limited in supply, meaning only a small amount of players can equip them at any given time. This means that there is a slow vesting of tokens, but every player can spend time functioning as potential sinks for the token. Mechanisms like this play well into the sustainability aspect of the token economy. The picture below illustrates the supply and demand for Time token. The Time token is going to be capped at 100 billion tokens, and most of it comes from playing the game with an Hourglass equipped. Big Time also has Time crystals, which are the premium currency in Big Time and are not a cryptocurrency. You can buy these crystals directly from Big Time, or if very lucky, get them as a random drop in-game. They are used to craft, upgrade, and recharge the Hourglass NFTs, and perform bonus rolls at Forges, Armories, and Time Wardens. The crystals can also be used to access special in-game dungeons and buy additional Hourglass equip slots. It is the currency that Big Time actually earns money from and is set up more like a traditional Web2 game where it is not a crypto. Lastly, there are cosmetic shards, which are the in-game resources acquirable by all players participating in the game. They can be turned into refined cosmetic shards, which are used in crafting. There was no distribution table for the Time token to be found, as it's not the investor token in the project. Hence, the time tokens are meant for the community, and there won't be any large unlocks or investors dumping tokens on the player base. All right, what Big Time is doing here, I think is going to be potentially a little bit controversial, or maybe perhaps spark some good debate within Web3 gaming, because if you've noticed and are paying attention, a lot of their models seem more somewhere in between Web 2 and Web 3. Not having their time token be a governance token or something that investors can buy up early on and then potentially dump on the market later is a really interesting concept. I think it makes it more about the game itself, especially because really the only purpose, as we know, of time is for crafting within the game. So that's really cool. I think a lot of gamers can get behind that. What I think will be interesting to watch is that it really makes Big Time focus solely around a cosmetic economy. Even though I believe a cosmetic only approach is great for gamers, I do think it makes it difficult because generally for those to work, you really need a large player base and a lot of people who are willing to put money into it to want to show off their skins or their flair or their cosmetics. With how many gamers are out there that are still opposed to really any game that has to do with NFT or crypto, I don't think Big Time is going to hit big player bases such as Fortnite or Valorant anytime soon, but Big Time could be setting themselves up for a potential huge growth spurt maybe once NFTs in gaming become more mainstream, hopefully maybe in 2 to 5 years from now. Only time will tell though. Big Time uses the Ethereum blockchain for its NFTs in combination with a proprietary vault technology they say is to circumvent, in their opinion, the lackluster user experience and high cost of Ethereum. Now, I've seen a lot of games that are building on Ethereum eventually move their NFTs over to something like Polygon or Immutable X. Some have done this vault system, but I'll be interested to see if Big Time also utilizes something moving forward like Immutable X. Big Time's roadmap doesn't give us a good understanding of the time frame they're going for. The timeline is without any dates and only uses vague terminology such as early access and coming soon. They do have 3 stages coming up though, such as space holders, invite-only beta, and the open beta. In the upcoming stage of space holders, Big Time will focus on early access for space owners with features like decorating and expanding their metaverse and improved friend finding. They also list out new co-op multiplayer adventures. Following is going to be the invite-only beta stage, opening for the possibility of inviting your friends to play with you. Story missions in Epoch City is also opening and crafting will be a focus. Lots of exciting things coming up for Big Time, but it's hard to say obviously when it's going to come out. I understand not putting dates out there. Even though I personally want to see what they are, it is hard as a developer to know exactly when features are going to come out. I do think though that inviting your friends is going to be the biggest thing and factor for playing Big Time, because playing as a solo experience is definitely not as good as playing with friends. So that invite beta stage I think is going to be key. Although Big Time doesn't have a document they call a white paper, they do have a wiki which includes a lot of relevant information normally found in the white paper. As such, we've considered this wiki when going through the project. The wiki is structured logically and organized, making it easy to find relevant information that we were looking for. We would like to see some of these pages expanded further and more in depth in their contents. Although we appreciate the contents being straight to the point and explained in an easy to understand manner, we often felt something was missing. The white paper section of Big Time scores an 8 out of 10. Now let's check out the team of Big Time. The team working on Big Time consists of many talented and experienced individuals. They call themselves a small team. However, their website lists 44 employees, and we found 82 employees on their LinkedIn, including a few investors. At the time of this writing, Big Time has 10 open positions. Combined, the team members working on Big Time have several years in the gaming industry, most prominently in companies such as Epic Games, Eidos, Electronic Arts, Ubisoft, and Treyarch. Some members even have 15 plus years in their respective companies. The team looks pretty solid already, especially with some people having massive amounts of experience in some of these larger gaming companies, which is great to see. I do think they will need to ramp up their teams to really fill out the entire scope of Big Time, as it is a massive, massive game, which is why I think they're already hiring even right now. The solid team working on Big Time receives a 9 out of 10. Now, before we jump into the final score of Big Time, I do want to ask you guys to jump over to Balthazar's website sometime today to check out what we got going on. We have a lot of great content for you guys who are Web3 gamers, as well as an SDK to help game developers take care of the blockchain experience and help them to focus just simply on building out a fun game. I'm really stoked on what we're building here at Balthazar, so go check it out. Now for our final thoughts and pre-release score of Big Time. Now we won't go over in this video, but if you read the whole report, you can see that the website scored an 8 out of 10 and their socialnomics a 9 out of 10. Hopefully by now you can clearly understand why we are so excited about the future of Big Time and what we consider their clear touches of brilliance. They break the pattern, which is arguably needed in the industry of GameFi. Although they don't talk much about the tech stack or how they're going to scale, we assume their server-based solution will allow for an increase and decrease in resources depending on demand. If GameFi is supposed to compete against traditional games in Web 2, then it's safe to say that the standard needs to be higher. Therefore, we are glad to see Big Time stepping up for the future of GameFi. All in all, as we have tried to communicate through our report, we are excited and delighted with Big Time and can't wait to spend time on Big Time. After averaging the scores of the 7 different categories for Big Time, they receive an overall pre-release score of 8.5 out of 10. Well, there you go. That's our pre-release score of Big Time. I've really enjoyed the game so far. I've loved digging in here with you guys here on Big Time in this research report. I don't know what you guys think about Big Time if you're going to be playing it when you get the chance. And also stay tuned for our gameplay video. In just a couple days, you'll get to see the whole alpha team jumping in to play with me here. But for now, thank you. Gracias, Salamat, for tuning in. I'll see you guys in that next video. If you haven't seen our Babylon SDK demo yet, you need to check out how this is making it super easy for gamers to get into your Web3 game. Registering for your game also creates a non-custodial wallet. Picking up in-game gold goes into our wallet. In-game NFT marketplace is also a blockchain transaction. Contact us to get registered for a Babylon SDK beta. Thanks everyone for watching.